Mm. So the part that I'm purging right now or being faced with is an interesting one. Um, when I went to Vipassana, it, it came up that the younger version of me, the inner child, there was this need to be seen. I think it was by my father, the memory. And obviously, the recent events that have happened in my life means I'm just having some alone time. And this part of me is really coming out to be seen and witnessed and felt by me. And I wanted to share because it's, it can be quite uncomfortable when we're facing this. It's almost like inner duality. You have both things going on at the same time. So at the moment, the example is this part of you needing to be seen, and the other part needing to be alone. So it's really, really interesting and conflicting. And it kind of actually speaking about it is assisting a lot because it's coming through like these two very separate parts that are coming to this crossroads. And it's almost like I get the visual of like the younger version of me coming sort of with this desire to be seen and this need, and meeting, the adult part of me who is just basically comforting her where she is. And that is the process that I often use when I do these healings, is seeing that younger version of me, because more often than not, well, a lot of the time it is that part of me frozen in time that is feeling that way, and then she makes herself known in the now. And it's so that she can be loved and accepted back into wholeness. And talking about it now is actually really good because it's like allowing it to happen. One thing that I wanted to bring up as well in regards to this is, if anyone's going through an uncomfortable time with, I feel like on the healing path, we're students sort of things, even at like they call it initiates eventually. And the problem with it that I'm experiencing is that you're kind of always looking up to someone or to something to tell you or agree that you're doing the right thing, or you're doing a good job, or you're progressing in the right way. And coming from quite a people-pleasing background, I'm just really, really aware of that occurring. And it's almost like I'm witnessing in awareness myself just doubting myself on autopilot with what I feel, think, and believe, for others to give comment or to insert their truth in kind of my situation. And so I don't know if this resonates, whether it's a reflected thing, whether it's just a path on the path thing. But it's very, very interesting to me, or a self-doubt thing. But what's actually really interesting is because it's not like, I think before I was probably asking for it, or like seeking this sort of somebody to tell me that I was right, or that, you know, I'm doing a good job, or I'm on the path, or I'm progressing. And now it's like, because I have this innate thing to want to share, and as a reflector, like very talkative, and that's how I process, because it's me hearing me, because quite often I'm feeling so many other things. And now I don't want anyone else's approval, opinion. Because the biggest thing to remember that I've found is that every single person is always going to receive you through their own lens. And, you know, I don't know if this makes it more intense as a reflector, like because they could actually just be seeing themselves, which is really common. But it's, you know, when people receive information, they process it through their own experience, and then they deliver it back. And it's almost like the story thing that I've spoken about. And so when you're talking, they'll grab the bits that match to their story and pull that in, and then the mind will process what they know about their experience with those certain characteristics of the story, and then create that reaction and that response to you, filtered through their own story. And why this makes it difficult is because you can literally be going around listening to people and their opinions, and it's got nothing to actually do with you. They're actually just responding to their own stuff. And then if you're open, if you're unaware, feeding it to you. And I guess this is why there's so many quotes about, you know, if you don't use your mind, somebody else will, and things like that, because from such a young age, we're taught from such a young age. Like that's how we learn. We look and you mimic, you copy, you watch people walk and talk and do, and then you do the same thing, I suppose. But I guess in our society, it's kind of been really fucked up in the way that you're taught everything. So there's nothing that actually comes from you that's original a lot of the time. And I mean, that might be a bit dramatic to say it like that, but honestly, that's how it kind of feels a lot of the time now. Like it might be your efforts as to how good you are at something, but it's still you normally doing the thing, following all the rules of how that thing's done. You know, I guess with art, that's why it's so like right-brained and so encouraged, because that's the creativity that is outside the box. There's no structure and there's no rules. But see, that's what I found with writing too, like wanting to write. Oh, the little thingies come out. Wanting to write, and then these writing groups are like, well, you've got to do it like this. And I'm like, what do you mean I have to do it like this? Isn't this my writing? So the lesson that I'm really being shown and taught and experiencing at the moment is this really, it's like I'm getting to this point where I'm like, I don't really care what you think. I don't really care what you have to say about what I do. I don't really care what you have to say about what I feel. And I guess I'm getting to the point of knowing and understanding myself that I don't need anybody to validate anything, and I don't require anyone's input. It's being shown to me more and more every day. The people who love and appreciate me don't tunnel me into that place where there's conditions on how I do things and who I am at any given moment. And I feel like this could be presenting for a lot of us because we're stepping more and more into our true self. And there's a lot of people who are feeling like their true self just happens to look like a lot of other people. And I kind of drove myself crazy for a while doing the same thing. Because especially when I sort of woke up, it was like, oh, you're here to be a healer and that's why you're awake. And whereas a lot of people are, it didn't, I wondered why it didn't look like anybody else. Why I didn't feel like I was drawn to that. Even though technically I still am, but it just doesn't look like anything else. It doesn't have a name. It doesn't have a box that it fits into. And I feel like a lot of us now, we're here to create the new, because otherwise you're just doing the same shit over and over again. And there's so many people who are taking advantage of this. I guess you could call them lost souls, of the souls that maybe have awoken and they don't know which direction to go. They don't know what's happening. And there's so many gurus out there that will gladly take you in. And that's why it confuses me as to whether this is all pre-done or whether we're just experiencing, whether we're actually doing free will, whether we're just watching a fucking movie thinking we're in it. You know, it's okay to think all of these things because that's how I feel. And that's okay. Oh, this is a very interesting video because I was kind of quite in a state when I started the video, in this like turmoil, and now I just feel really determined to just be who I am in this moment, and just that nobody can take you out of that. Don't let anybody take you out of that. If you want to be taken out of it, sure. But I'm really noticing how much I want to avoid feeling like that. And that's when you bring in distraction. And when I've sort of gotten rid of 95% of distraction, I mean, I'm talking like a book and a movie might be the two things that I've got left. It's more noticeable how much you previously run away from this feeling and run away from this stuff, when it's just that part of you going, hey, can I be heard yet? Or can I be seen yet? Or are you going to love me today? So yeah, this video was a little bit closer to home in the way of what I'm experiencing in this current moment. And a few of my friends are going through similar things with just feeling a bit like, you know, people are questioning them just being themselves and them choosing them. And we got to let people be who they are and just love them for that.